How's it going, everyone? This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Alright. Sorry for the late start. Still got a sick household and everybody's hacking and coughing and, you know, like you do. Alright, let's see. Turn on YouTube. Alright, what's up, Goat? What's up, Mass Murderer? Murderer. Alright, so let's put up GME because they had an interesting day. They got pushed down and they had earnings. They did announce a partnership with, what was it, STX? Was that who it is? Or FTX, maybe? TX, is that? Yeah. They're like a major crypto exchange. It's a revenue of $1 billion last year. Market cap of $3.4 billion. So yeah, GameStop apparently is partnering with them in some way. So we can look into some of that. And let's take a look at, pull up some of their filings. Let's take a look here. Alright, so they're burning through a good deal of cash. They did increase their receivables, though. So that's good. Let's see. What's up, Hyun? How are you, bud? Shannon George. It's September ATER. Yep. I was going to say, at some point we're going to see probably a nice little run on Ethereum. A lot of you guys have been listening to me talk about the warrants and probably what will happen with that, so still expect that to come. Alright, let me just take a look, because I haven't had a chance to look at GameStop stuff. Alright, so their liabilities did go down, so that's a good thing. Their accounts payables reduced, accrued liabilities. Long-term debt is way down. Well, not way down, but a good deal down. Alright, operating lease. So that's a good thing. Not quite turned around, though. You do have a drop slightly in sales. The cost of sales went down slightly, though. Alright. Asset impairments is about the same. Wait, no. That's the asset impairment, I think. Yeah, okay. This was selling general admin expenses. Alright. They're going to have to... You're going to have to figure out how to get that cash flow back going the other way. Yeah, I mean, like, their cash is flowing out at a good rate. Hyun says, staying strong. Was able to bring my average down to wow. Get your average down to 240, huh? Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty good. Yeah, I was going to say a lot of people's averages are in the 6s and 5s, and some people are getting down into the 4s now. I'm trying to get mine down even further. If I can get mine closer to where the warrants get unlocked at 320 on Ethereum, that'd be great. Yeah, I mean, shorts. I mean, you can see why shorts are short on this. Now, I think being short on GameStop is pretty dangerous, considering, it's basically turned into a movement. But yeah, like, you can see they're still hemorrhaging good amount of cash. Now, the last thing apes want to see is any dilution. So my hope is going to be basically that they're able to figure out a way of turning this around. They're still in the NFT marketplace. That's still a beta. So I'm hoping that when they go live on that and you'll generate some good... We should be able to actually see how much that brought in. Let's see. If we do NFT... Okay, during the 3 months ended on July 30th, we launched beta versions of the NFT marketplace. Let's see. Okay. Trying to see. Basically giving you the risks of if they can't moderate the marketplace, then they could have some problems. Let's see. All right, so we entered into a partnership. The company was entitled to receive digital assets in the form of IMX tokens once a certain milestone is achieved. Upon entering the agreement, we recognize the fair value of non-current receivables and deferred income of $79 million. Okay, so they'll get a chunk, it looks like, of IMX tokens, which have market value. Okay, that's all pretty much the same, I think. I think I'm going in circles. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're gonna see a nice run up when the warrants get unlocked on that. So, so you look here. This is where we are now. You're gonna see this is where they need to get to. What's up? Yeah, Morgoth, have you taken a look at the GameStop earnings? I just had it up a second ago, but I got a link here if you want to see it. Here, I'll put in the... Yeah, it's a little interesting. I was gonna say, it's still. I mean, I think they said that if I remember correctly, they reported that they DRS'd like 100 million, something like that. Is that right? Let's see. I'm sure Super Snock would know. 70 here. All right, so 71.3 million is DRS right now. So just so you guys can see, you've got right now 71.3 million DRS as of July 30th. That's a ton. What are they at right now? I think it's at GME shares outstanding should be 304. So like a third of the, not quite yet a third, but it's going to be interesting. That's going to be super interesting to see what happens. 15% are held by insiders. Let me take a look at Fintel real quick, because now I'm a little bit curious. Okay. So insiders, Fintel's got them at owning 16% of GameStop, which is about 48 million shares, 48.7 million shares roughly. So that means that if you combine, let's do this. If we combine the 71.3 right million plus 48,699,800, that's 119 million shares. Basically, let's call it 120 million shares between insiders and retail who are DRSing and holding on to those shares. Because my guess is if you're DRSing, you're probably not looking to sell anytime soon. So those are all the people who are playing it for MOAS. So if you do a little math on that, if the total float, right, is 30, let's say 304, because that's what I saw before, but 303. All right, so if we do 303, I'm going to say 120. Yeah, that leaves 183 million left. But that's, you remember, we have to look at institutions now, right? So let's go to owners. Oops. Owners. Institutional owners. Wow. That's pretty interesting. All right, so minus another, let's say roughly 22,040,1. Oops. All right, so at least about 160 million out there, right? So what's the short interest on GameStop right now? %61 off exchange through dark pools. Short interest is 53 million. Right? Which is 21% of the float. Right? Okay. Yeah, but look at this. So pretty much every single day, the aggregate short volume has been basically mid 60s to 70% of the entire float, or sorry, of the entire daily. That's quite a number. I think if we pull up Ortex real quick, If I remember correctly, I think I saw on it that the short interest against GameStop right now is something like a couple billion. Yeah, 1.27 billion is the short interest right now against GameStop. And what I'd be looking for is this level right here. See if they try to push it down again to that level, which is like 23, right? Is that what basically we got to today? I saw us dip into 23. The low was basically 19. So I'm curious to see that after this earnings. Let's see. Yeah, the cash flow needs to change the other direction. Let's take a look at their insiders. They had the one sell. So Vanguard and BlackRock still own a good amount of them. George Sherman, wasn't he the former CEO of GameStop? Yeah, he was the former CEO of GameStop. So he still holds a good amount. So these guys added, it looks like. Added, they reduced. Goldman reduced. Yeah, they reduced quite a bit. So Goldman sold out their shares. Should be able to see probably on here as well. All right, let's see. Let's pull up. You guys have any questions about this? I'm just honestly going through it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Let's see. Are we able to see institutional owners? Let's see. So Maverick sold out their entire position, it looks like. Right? They did that earlier. Yeah, I think it all depends on what you're playing it for. Like, Hyun, I think, I think what we're going to see, no matter what, they're going to probably push it down because that's what they do. Like, like, shorted stock, whenever they have earnings, they always push it down, you know. Yeah, let's take a look. So, that's percent. Let me just see. So these are the highest ones, right? So Maverick's gone, and so is Senvest. They also sold. Looks like Susquehanna has a very large put. So they're basically betting more on the downside. They're hedging it with that call there. They probably have some shares in here as well, so they can write covered calls and stuff like that. Let's see. Citadel has calls. Should have a hedge against that too with some puts, but I don't see it. There's their put. So they're basically almost like even. They're playing at both sides. That's an index fund. Yeah, it's interesting. So the institutional ownership has actually dropped pretty significantly on GameStop. My guess would be it's because they're probably trying to... Well, number one, obviously, GameStop's model is, until they actually show that they can turn around the actual business, most institutions are not going to support it. Which means that's going to require basically ACE buying up every share of the stock. And at the burn they're going for, right now they're burning through cash pretty aggressively. My guess is obviously you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, right? Well, when you're trying to change an entire business plan around and move into the future, it's going to cost your company a lot of money to do that. You have to hire the right people. You have to do all these things. So I'm not shocked, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, well, I was doing some AI art. I can show you guys some. That one just rendered and finished, but check this out. So if anyone's interested, I'll pull up some of the ones I've done. So there's one I did. I've been trying to do like a cyborg kind of thing. Just, let me see if I can pull up some of the ones I did earlier. I had a pretty cool one, I thought. Here, is it this one? All right. Where is... I was trying to make a new, what are they called? Sure, you were doing AI art. No, I was trying to do a new, what's it called, like a banner for our Discord group. He looks horny. Boom, boom. Like, here, I'll just show you guys what it looks like. So I was going through and I'm trying to do I was trying to do bulls and bears, but I can't get the AI to actually do what I'm asking it to. It keeps making the bull and the bear one thing. And then I made a couple marine ones. Somebody asked me to try a greyhound one. I was not super successful with the greyhounds. And then I was trying to make somebody, I don't know, maybe it was random. I don't remember which one of you guys was telling me I should change my screensaver or my avatar to a marine eating crayons. I tried. I could not get the damn thing to actually so every time I typed in marine with crayons, it kept just giving me colorful walls for whatever reason. So and I'm like, well, that doesn't really work. I kept trying, and I was trying to get to do stocks, and it kept giving me weird things. That was probably the closest I got to bar chart, which is what I put in. It just looks like he's walking through a school though, so I'm like, that doesn't really work. That one came out pretty decently. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, I was doing some AI art. Anywho. All right. Get off that. Gave you Barch art? What's Barch art? I did try, actually, I don't know if anybody's interested in this stuff, but I did try to make a couple. Yeah, I changed the Discord picture just because so I don't know if you guys know this. I just grabbed that other one with the head exploding. Like it was just like literally supposed to be like a placeholder, and it turned out that you can like I don't know, like I was using it, but it wasn't mine, so I figured I had to make something. So that's what I made is some of this AI art, so I could have it and actually be licensed and under my stuff instead of me taking somebody else's work and not feel great about. Oh yeah, I made this thing. I thought this came out pretty good. Let me see if I can show you guys. Look at that. I made that with the AI program. I thought that was pretty good. And this one too. And I found out you can actually, for anyone that cares, should be down here. Sorry, it's taking a while. But I found out you can actually, like, literally combine different people. And, like, I made a mixture of, like, different actors and actresses. Check this out. So, like, yeah, it's nuts. Like, so check this out, right? Like, that's supposed to be Zac Efron and Jason Momoa together. And then this one was Orlando Bloom and Machine Gun Kelly. It's Orlando Bloom with neck tats and this one. Let me see if I can find. The one thing I've noticed is sometimes it messes up the teeth and the eyes. Like, so I crossed a couple different actresses. Anyone guess who that is? Like, this was made with the AI art program. Like, that's nuts. Like, that looks like a real person. Like in a photograph. Right? Like, that's not a real person. That's crazy to me. I'm like, looks like a photograph to me. Yep. You got it, dirty. It was her combined with Emma, what's her name? Watson, Barbara Pavin, who's a model. I just basically took people that had symmetrical faces and, like, combined a couple of different ones to kind of get a look. And so what I found out is you're able to kind of, like, replicate, obviously, I don't know if people care or not, but, you're able to kind of just create the same sort of look over and over again. What's up, Dirty? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me. So anyway, but yeah, I didn't want you guys to think I was, like, looking at weird porn or anything. It was just me doing some AI art. So now you guys know I've been messing around with AI art just for fun. Okay. So what do you guys want to cover? And any other tickers or anything we want to take a look at real quick? I'm waiting for you. Anyone got anything you want to cover or you want to talk about? Want to talk about Game of Thrones? Mom, and I've been messing with AI porn again. I did actually find out though so with this one you can't actually have I'm using Midjourney. Midjourney, they actually ban nudity, so you can't actually do anything like that. You can't even type in like anything remotely that's like I put like sultry and it banned sultry. So like you can't like put in anything that's like, overtly sexual. There's one apparently that, all right. Yeah, we can do GameStop. All right, so GameStop really, I was looking at the earnings. The earnings were like they've been just bleeding cash, which is why there's less institutional ownership. And the positive thing is that obviously retail continues to buy in DRS. There's probably a lot more than 71 million. 71 million is just what has been DRS'd. But I know for a fact that I've got friends that have a couple thousand shares of GameStop at this point, and none of them are DRS'd. I told them to, but they're not. So you've got a good amount of people that are still just not DRSing, but they still own a good amount of shares. So, excuse me. Yeah, so GameStop right now, I mean, this happens all the time. So going into earnings, they were just hammering it down, hammering it down. What will probably, I think it ran up slightly in after hours. Let me double check that. Make sure. I think I saw it at like 29 at one point or 28 or something like that. But let's see what happened at the end of it. So it was up 11% to 26. So it was down 4.38% on the day, and in after hours it moved up to 26.84. I'll be honest with you. I think they're just going to hammer it down tomorrow because we don't like to. They're not going to let the gap be there. So they'll most likely, maybe they'll push it up in the morning and then they'll slam it down later in the week or whatever. But I don't think they're going to leave a gap sitting there in the mid 20s and just have it run. My guess would be they're going to try to trap retail, thinking that here's the thing: they know retail doesn't really look at balance sheets, and they don't. Most of the time, they don't actually do their due diligence, and they don't sit there and figure out what everything means. So what you're going to end up seeing is you're going to see them just playing, games where they push the stock up, everyone, buys, options, and then they'll slam it back down later. So that's my guess on what happens with GameStop tomorrow. At this point, there was no news that was like so great that it was like, the FTX news is great. That's good for GameStop. But at this point right now, they're not making, tons of money off of it yet. So, GameStop's doubling down on crypto. They're part of the blockchain technologies, right? The partnership is intended to introduce GameStop customers to FTX community and its marketplace for digital assets. GameStop will start carrying FTX gift cards in select stores, and it will be FTX preferred retail partner in the U.S. Suggest that FTX could sell some other goods at GameStop at some point. So, you know, they've got their GameStop's got their own crypto wallet, but obviously this is a probably significant partner at this point because it's giving like the FTX is a real like big player in the crypto space. So, um, yeah, and Reddit also is doing it too. All right, so run, Forrest, run. Yeah, I'm curious to see what will end up happening with GameStop, just because it's become like basically a movement in its own right. Because I've never seen retail basically say, you know what, we don't really care what's going to happen. You guys cheated us, and now we're going to basically lock up the entire float ourselves. And in their in their credit, they're doing it, and I'm buying when I can. It's not the only stock I'm buying, but you know, I definitely have a decent sized position in GameStop, and I do think it's just one of those things where in the long run, shorts are playing a really dangerous game in the long run with GameStop, because that's billions of dollars. Not like with Ethereum. I think we got caught up last time watching the short interest and not remembering that to these hedge funds, $28 million is basically a drop in the bucket. Yeah, sure, they were uncomfortable, they were losing money, but at the same time, like, GameStop can basically put some smaller hedge funds out of business if they're short, and it runs. So, like, it's not like, here, I'll just show you, just to break it down again. So, right, we've got like let's just say 303 shares outstanding, right? The free float, that would leave basically like 253 because you take out insiders. Now, we already established that retail has already locked up 73 million in DRS, right? But that's not all of what retail owns. That's just what's been DRS'd. But when you go here to short interest and you take a look at this, right? 1.27 billion right now is the estimated like short interest. Like, that's a lot of short interest, right? Interesting note on the IMX tokens. Yeah, I was going to say, so I thought that was interesting too, because obviously that's a good chunk. And if IMX does well, and that's, one of the things with the NFT marketplace with the IMX, tie is, they get a piece of every transaction by hosting it. But at the same time, if IMX tokens, I don't know, you guys know Immutable, but I did try one of their games once, and I thought it was an interesting concept because it's all through, I think was it Web 3, Web 4, whatever. Immutable X, yeah. So check this out. I don't know if you guys know this, but Web 3, sorry, not Web 4, Web 3. So they've also got these, games that they're going to be putting out, and you can essentially, from what I at least played on the couple I was going through, it's you create your own, like, the one I played was like some sort of card deck. It was kind of like, Magic or whatever. I was trying different games just to see. I think this one was a pretty popular one as well. And was it this one? Anyway, I just wanted to see what, because you figure if I'm investing in this, I might as well take a look at how this all works. So one of the things I did was I was like, all right, well, let's go ahead and see how these games work and how people would make money off this. And so you basically can use your tokens to buy certain items. I think that's an interesting thing if you're GameStop, because GameStop, you basically have to figure, okay, well, the future of gaming, if it's going to be more, online web, kind of like, I know everyone keeps pointing to like Ready Player One, because I think that's where they'd love to see it go. I don't think we're going there yet, but I do think the fact that GameStop, if they were the ones like the gatekeepers, basically, they're you're able to buy and sell items within games and then cross-platform. That's an interesting spot to be in, because say for example, you're playing a game, you can sell your items in the game for basically IMX tokens, or loop ring, or whatever, Ethereum, whatever, a lot of these sit on Ethereum, I think. But from what I understand, if you can go ahead and like sell your thing and then go into a new game and basically use your tokens there, you don't have to be stuck with all these really powerful items in one game. You could switch. It's an interesting thought for gamers. Because some people get bored of the games, and they, but like they leave all that, those items just sitting there, and so yeah, I think there could be something there for that marketplace if this catches on. If more games become like this, and you're able to basically buy and sell things on the market, because GameStop's deal, I believe, is they get like 2.5% of all transactions off the marketplace. So if you have literally millions of gamers all playing games and using your marketplace as the kind of intermediary, that actually could produce a ton of traffic in your marketplace, which brings in tons of money. Like I know OpenSea was that the one with the art, like the NFT art, stuff like that, but they were making like millions of dollars just hosting all these things, and that's I think what GameStop wants to eventually do with the gaming. So, is it perfect right now? No. But is there a possibility that this could be the future of gaming? Yeah, I mean, it depends if it catches on or not. But, I think that's a very interesting thing to think about is, where does gaming go in the future? Does it all turn onto online? There's always going to be some people who love, single player and like just want to just knock out a game, but there are a lot of people that enjoy the multiplayer aspect. So, yeah. So that's my thoughts right now on GameStop is I do think at some point we will see a bounce somewhere around here. Like you can see, like anytime it goes down significantly, at some point there's a major bounce. It's just, there becomes basically like a price equilibrium where they say, okay, we've been watching this gap down over here, so they're definitely going to fill this gap up here. So in the short term, here's what I can tell you: that gap will fill at some point very easily. Was there a gap up here too in the 40, like 39, 40, something like that? Yeah, we never filled that gap up here. So I would imagine that gap in the high 30s. I'm looking forward to playing and Unscrew the Hedge Fund game. Me too. Someday we will all look back and go, well, that was a fun ride. Hopefully much richer in the... But yeah, so in the short term, I do think this gap over here fills in the mid-20s, and the one up in the high 30s I think will fill eventually when it springs back up. But this is what they do every single time on this stock, is they drop it down significantly, and then you have these major moves up when they cover. This is just how the stock's been going. So at this point right now, I don't think it's MOAS until we see more shares get DRS'd and the pace doesn't slow down. It seemed like the pace actually sped up over the last bits of DRSing. So, but yeah, they're making ETFs that are going to basically short AMC and GameStop. So like they're pulling out the stops to make sure that this doesn't happen. We'll see if retail keeps staying strong and just says, all right, we'll play your game, like kind of like a gamer, right? gamers typically will play the game until they win, and that's GameStop's been laughing because they're going, you guys don't know who you mess with. We fail the majority of the time at our games until we can beat them. Like, you messing with gamers is a very silly thing to think about, but a lot of these people, they remember what happened. Like, GameStop, I just want to point this out. When GameStop ran, right? This run right here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Probably should just do it on the real chart. But this insane run up to here, they were about to basically margin call everybody that was short GameStop, which meant that they would have liquidated. That's why the SPY was dropping significantly and GameStop had a negative beta, was because hedge funds were literally getting liquidated at the time. Like, the small ones went, and then the medium ones started going, and then the big ones were at risk of actually going under, and they would have had to liquidate all their long positions in the stock market, which meant that they would have crashed. And so basically they broke the rules to make sure that GameStop, and it was mainly because all that traffic was coming out of Robinhood. So all they had to do was just make sure Robinhood and a couple other small other brokers that were in on it, like IBKR, all these other ones, limited how many shares you could buy. And once they did that, they cut off the head of the Hydra, because there wasn't we'll just they took away retail's ability to buy and keep pressure on the stock, and that means that all that could happen is go down. Like, if you turn off the buy side, the only thing that can happen is the stock can go down. So many people remember that, and they're not going to forget it, so they're just going to keep messing with it and see where it goes from there. All right, let's cover the couple ones that you guys wanted, and then I'll get going, because I know we don't like to go too late, and I'll start yawning like the old man I am, right? I'm not that old, but... All right, let's pull up some of these tickers I don't know. All right, so Giga Cloud, I have heard of them before. I've never looked at them, though, from... Okay, so Giga Cloud, they are an end-to-end business-to-business e-commerce solution. Tiny float, according to Lucian. They got $57 million in cash. They got a year left of that. How long have they been around? They're a new stock, so they IPO'd. Student housing properties. Wait, what? Wait a second. Is this a Chinese stock? Wait a second. I'm just reading this. What is going on here with this? The company first launched its marketplace in 2019, focused on global furniture market. And now, why do they own military and school housing? Student housing properties. Wait, what? What does that have to do with furniture? That is strange. I don't know what that has to do with their business model. They said they're business to business. Like what? So they started as a furniture company, got into student housing somehow. Okay. Okay. Military housing projects. Okay. So total assets are 1.4. Total liabilities are 1.4. Rental income's down. Yeah, what is this? Diversification. That's weird though. So operating partnership with subsidiaries are self-advised, self-managed specialty housing company that provides housing to college and university students residing off campus and to U.S. members of the military and their families located on near Bellflower Betty. So they bought it, right? They're an infrastructure company based out of UK. Huh. That's weird. It looks like they have locations in DC, Falls Church, and Baltimore. What do they do, though? So it's retail investment? Like, what does that have to do with their core business model? That's Giga Cloud. What does that have to do with Giga Cloud? Like, what? Never mind, wrong ticker. Yeah, I just unless I'm literally clicking the 10Q and make sure it's the right one, but did they put the wrong filing? This is GMH. Oh, you know what? I think that's wrong. I think they had this wrong. Unless this is the new ticker for it. It looks like this is not the right filings. They're based out of Hong Kong. Did I type it in wrong? Didn't someone ask about GTC or GCT? Am I going crazy? Did I just type in the wrong ticker? Can you look at Giga Cloud, GCT? GCT. And I typed in GCT, Giga Cloud Technology. When I go to filings, though, when I click on the 10Q, it's bringing up GMH. And it talks about military base housing. Like, what does that have to do with their business to business e-commerce platform? That's why I'm confused. Oh, did they remove the old ticker and they Maybe that's what's screwing this up. Did they inherit somebody else's old ticker? Is that what happened? I don't know much about this one, so let's take a look. All right, so free float of 2.75 million. So they IPO'd at 12. The stock ran up to 50, it looks like, and then has been kind of chilling in the 20s for the last couple months. I don't think that balance sheet we looked at, though, is the right company. So I can't give you too much. Their investor relations, okay. I don't see a investor relation page. Investors, here we go. Okay, so they're foreign. So they've got to fill out. The poor wife's hacking away. You can hear her upstairs just hack, hack, hack. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. This is obviously all like they're like fluff stuff. They're not going to show you like the bad stuff. They'll mention like these are our risks and stuff like that, but they're going to sugarcoat things as much as possible because they're IPOing in the U.S. market. We are a foreign private issuer, meaning that in the meaning of the rules of the Exchange Act, we are exempt under the Exchange Act, among other things. The rules of the Exchange Act requiring filing of quarterly reports on a 10Q. So they don't have to fill out a 10Q or an 8K. I would imagine they still have to fill out. We will be required to file an annual report on a Form 20F. Huh. Scoper. What happened with ATER? I don't think anything. Did anything happen with it? Yeah, it didn't really do anything. It finished down less than 1%. Yeah, ATER's just been chilling. Yeah, so here's, if you're new here, Scoper, here you go. I'll pull up this chart for you. So I can't, just so you guys, whoever asked about GCT, I can't give you too much because I haven't been able to see a financial report on them. Because they haven't had one. They're like a new IPO. We can only go off their prospectus. So I'm not going to read through an entire prospectus right now at 11 o'clock at night. But all right, so here's the deal. On ATER, this line right here, this green line, is where the warrants are at, right? So for them to unlock and do any dilution, the stock price has to be above this, and probably if you're going to be diluting, you want it to be much higher than this. So what will likely happen is we'll have a run up like here, where this is where the stock was last time. This is where we are now. They magically out of nowhere got volume, a lot of follow through, came up here, right? This is where Armistice, the largest shareholder, unloaded their entire position up at these levels, right? So now Armistice still has another like 5 to 7 million shares, right, that have warrants that they can unlock once the stock gets above this price. So what's going to end up happening probably is at some point they're going to start slapping the ass, getting retail excited, and then what you'll see is this starts screaming up, right? And then what's going to end up happening after that is you're going to see them at some point probably do the same sort of thing as last time. That would be my guess, at least. Unless they want to go long, which, it's possible. The first round, that was just some cash, to basically pay for itself. This second time, if they wanted to go long, if they thought things were improving, they could still hold the position. Laugh out loud. Poor Anon having to do the daily obligation ATER warrant explanation. Yeah, I mean, people ask, so. But yeah, so the stock price will have to get above this line just for them to unlock it. So expect that to happen probably, I would think, in the next couple months. I don't have an exact timeline. Last time when they got their hands on the warrants right here, that was in March. So this is when they issued out the private placement. This is when it ran. So basically like a week later, 10 days later, something like that. I don't know what it was. That's when it exploded. So you will probably see some sort of similar thing at some point. They were unlockable as of yesterday. So I don't think they're going to run when the entire market's going back and forth. But at the same time, what I expect to happen at some point is for these things to go up and clear this green line and then continue going up, because they're going to need to dilute a good amount of shares. So you probably need to see the price back up in the 5 to 8 range, maybe even possibly 10. So once they get the stock up that high, then they can dilute, and then the stock will naturally fall. So that's what's going on there. And then I think there was one more thing. Random wanted me to cover. What is this? Athax? What is it? Look at that. Look at that gap. What you doing playing with a stock that's got a big gap like that? How random? Look at that gap. What was that, earnings? Oh, it was a stock split? Was that a reverse split or something? What is happening here? Split. You like playing the gap. Well, it went super, super aggressive there. So, yeah, at some point I would expect some gap fill to happen. I mean, you can already see it's been kind of coming down. It got extremely overbought. You can see these are starting to fall back to earth. Yeah, I mean, like the chart showing there's downside. I mean, that's what I see here. Like you got a huge gap here. You can see there's some selling pressure here. You can see it's getting pushed down here on the RSI. It looks like it's been fading a little bit on the MACD. Right here, you've got your, your money flow, your cash flow, and your ADL going down. Your volume's already been down. And then your CCI looks like it's going to cross over, and Awesome and TTM are both moving back down. So, I mean, unless is there like a ton of short interest on this or something that's causing it to? Okay. Large gap down, still hasn't filled. Poor wife. Yeah, they don't have much in here. So it says about 12 million shares short, but that's much less than what it was before. So. Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, if you played that, if you were in it before that thing gapped up, then good for you. That's a pretty crazy looking thing. Big gap. All right. All right, you guys. I am going to head out. For anyone that was, I know it was short today, but for anyone that's interested, if you're new to this, we can go ahead and send you. If you click on the comments, we can give you an invite to the Discord. Come hang out with us. Go ahead and generate a new link. Go. There. So there's free Discords there for anyone that wants to come hang out. And then yeah, so just double check. Is there any landmines with warrants or anything? Yes. Academy and sports. Doesn't have any dilution that seems to matter. It has a gap. BlackRock's in on it. So it's got smart money in on it. So that's a good thing. It had earnings. That would probably explain the gap, right? That gap will probably fill, though, at some point. So that's what I'd be watching. But, yeah, they look like they're a pretty, big company. Yeah, they've got a 3.57 billion market cap. So probably pretty safe was what I'd say. Okay. Yeah, probably pretty safe. But I would probably, if I was going long on them, I would probably enter more once that gap fills. Can it still go up? Sure. I mean, that could be an earnings beat. They push up for a while, but at some point I think they come back and retest that area of liquidity. Like there was a gap that was here. They filled it there. There's a gap here now. Do we go bring it back down? And Okay. So, you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to try to be online a little bit more on the Discord. So, catch up with me there, and you guys have a wonderful evening.